Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm calling this meeting to order at 7:01. Could I please get a roll call?
Yep, Jack Sapia,
Hello.
Katie Newton.
Here.
Mark Sherwood.
Here.
Shauna Manthorn.
Here.
Bree Woodward.
Here.
Melissa Kowalczyk.
Here.
Paula Kane.
Here.
And Mary Ann Springer.
All right, if everyone can stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right.
Madam Chair,
Madam Speaker.
can I make a motion to go into non-public under 91-A:3 subparagraph C, please?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mark. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Jack Sapia,
Yes.
Katie Newton. Mark
Yes.
Sherwood.
Yes.
Shauna Manthorn.
Yes.
Bree Woodward.
Yes.
Melissa Kowalczyk.
Yes.
Paula Kane.
Yes.
Mary Ann Springer.
Yes. All right, since we're going into a non-public, guys, I apologize, but everyone has to leave through there and we will be back no later than 15 minutes, okay? We'll respect your time, okay?
2 seconds.
Yep. 7:27, sorry, it took a little bit longer. Next is approval of the minutes. And board members, we don't have our little cheat sheet on the side like we usually do. So you were looking for page 14 of your packet, page 14. Yes, sir.
Do we need a motion to seal the non-public minutes?
Yes. Yeah.
I second that.
All right, Marianne made the motion to seal, Bree seconded it. All those in favor? Opposed and abstained, it's unanimous. Thank you, Marianne.
Make a motion to approve the school board meeting minutes from August 14th, 2025.
I have a motion by Shauna to approve. I have a second by Bree. Any other discussion? Okay.
As a minute.
All right.
Make a motion as amended.
Okay. All right, any other discussion on the meeting minutes? All right, all those approve? 1, 2, 3. Opposed and then abstain. 2 abstentions. Just me and Jack. Okay, next is, oh, we got some non-public still, sorry.
Motion to accept the minutes for non-public on August 14th.
Make a motion. Oh, thank you, Don. Don made a motion. Who was the second?
Second, Shauna.
Shauna was second. Any discussion on the non-public meeting minutes? All those in favor? Opposed and abstain. Just me and Jack abstain. All right, pass those back, please. We have 4 delegates and individuals to speak. I'm gonna adhere to the 3-minute rule, so if you guys hear the timer go off, your time is up. First person up is Rachel Martin.
We're together. Can we do it together?
Do you want to speak together? Yeah, that's fine.
Absolutely.
Rachel and Marisha, correct?
Yes.
All right, guys. So since you guys are together, I'll give you the 6 minutes.
That's the way to do it, you know?
Tag each other in.
Definitely.
Let's figure it out.
Hold on.
I have something prepared. I've never been to a school board meeting, so
So just introduce yourselves and what town you're from, okay?
so sorry. I'm Marisha Kluzak Singh, and this is Rachel Martin. We're from Plastow. And I wrote something, so I'm here on behalf of several families to share concerns we have about bus 104. Our bus is often backed up, which means it gets absorbed into another route. And that changes pickup and drop-off times with little notice. The buses become overcrowded. Most times, 3 kids to a seat. Just this week, a kindergartner from our neighborhood was bullied during one of those backups. The school's investigating. Pollard is being really great, but with so many kids crammed onto those buses and no monitors, it's impossible for drivers to manage behavior safely. And this isn't new. So 3 years ago, bus 104 started being the first bus pulled whenever there was a shortage. Last year, that created a major stress for parents. Getting last-minute schedule changes in the morning makes it very hard to arrange childcare or even get to work on time. To put it in perspective, last year it took 3 weeks for our first bus backup, and this year it was 3 days. We understand the driver shortage is an ongoing challenge, and last year many of us suggested reevaluating the routes, fewer buses, better planned routes based on the drivers that they actually employ. Unfortunately, those suggestions haven't been implemented, and families are dealing with the same issues again. On top of that, our current driver, Brian, who's been outstanding and built strong relationships with all the families, he was a godsend last year when things settled down and he became our regular driver. He might be reassigned, he told us, and he's already the 6th bus driver we've had in just 3 years since my kids have started with this bus, and losing him would be a huge setback to us. We truly appreciate the efforts already being made. especially by the Pollard staff, to keep the parents informed. But we're asking the district to prioritize a stable, proactive solution for Bus 104. And recently I've been told that it's not just Bus 104, not just Plastow, it's a district-wide issue. I'm sure buses are backed up in other towns as well. But even if a long-term fix takes time, keeping schedules consistent and retaining trusted drivers would make a huge difference for our students and families. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next is Scott Burt.
Scott Burke, Danville, New Hampshire.
Sorry.
Timberlane, you have a problem. Problem is communication. Recently, my kid was accepted to a program at Pinkerton for CTE. Comes to find out that the program was, one of the people retired. And now she found out today she might not get the full 2 credits. Unfortunately, this was sent to the guidance department during the summer. No communication to my kid, no communication to the parent. Now, what do you expect? You asked us to be forward with you guys, and yet the administration cannot be forward with your kids. The lack of communication is horrible. You will be getting an email copied to Pinkerton as well. If this is not rectified soon, I will come back and ask for you guys to pay for my kid to go to Alvern and take their forestry program, because that's what they signed up for. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Next is Peter Trojan.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Superintendent, members of the committee. My name is Peter Trojan from Atkinson. I also member of the Board of Selectmen there. And I just want to briefly, I'm certainly interested in what's going to happen with the unassigned fund balance. There's rumors all over the place on that. I don't know if the committee has decided what they're doing on that yet. If not, I hope you solicit input from citizens in the district on that. So that's all I want to say. But in addition to that, I do want to say that I hope in the future, when you have a non-public meeting, when you start out that way, you either start early on this meeting or you do it after the meeting. Because when I looked at the agenda, it said the meeting was starting at 7 p.m. So for people, members of the public to come here, it would be appreciated if you could consider that. That's all I have.
Thank you for your time. Could I get a motion to move the 15 minutes of delegates and individuals to the end of the meeting?
So moved.
So moved by Mark. Do I have a second? Seconded by Shauna. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed and abstained, unanimous. Before we get on, I am gonna allow Superintendent Krieger to speak about our busing issue right now, so I'm just gonna let you go ahead and speak.
Happy to. Appreciate your feedback and coming and speaking publicly. Wanted to share with the board a couple pieces of factual information and then 3 kind of action items that we're working with First Student to resolve these ongoing concerns. The first is that all this information comes with a meeting with myself, organized by Dr. Martin at the last minute hour that included the leadership of First Student this morning and their regional director. So it was a good group of people to get together. Here are some things that I learned. We are contracted for 28 drivers in our district. Since June, First Student has lost 6 drivers. In that same time period, they have been able to replace 3 of those 6 drivers with people from different regions. So not new hires, but people they have brought in from different regions to serve our needs. So as a district, we are down 3 routes as a district. I can't speak enough how it is so important that when families are greeting those new drivers that are transferred from other regions, and our admin are greeting them when they pull up to the schools, that they're treated well, because these 3 people that have transferred here want to stay here in Timberlane. That is an awesome success, and it's because of the families greeting them and our schools. So it's not a 6-person problem, it's a 3-person problem.
Is your skin feeling uncomfortable?
The ways that
Mine is.
Is your skin okay?
making sure everybody was aware.
Moisturize all day.
A little levity is really nice. So a couple ways that we're going to attack that. We need to continue to have those regional drivers feel connected here. To your point that they stay and they're retained. Also in the last 6 weeks, First Students received 18 applications. It is a process to hire drivers. In that 6 weeks, 2 of those folks have moved through the process to gain their CDL. So they are 3 weeks away from starting at First Student. And I'm not saying that that's the solution, but that's one prong about getting people to the thing. What I'm happier to report tonight is that First Student is also going to bring an additional driver from Rhode Island over the weekend. They're going to start Monday and they are going to start in Plastow because that is a town that has been most impacted with 3 driver impacts this year. I do not expect further bus backups on 104 beginning on Monday. In addition to that, there are 2 other state folks that they're looking to bring from Connecticut and one from Massachusetts. They're not guaranteed, they haven't signed on. We're talking with the director. We're able to talk about how people feel when they work here in Timberlane. They're likely going to give it a shot. So with the applicants coming through the pipeline, with the regional people that are already here as a stopgap that want to stay, and with the new transferred state people, I feel better than I did on Friday about pieces. But that's where things stand. And I think the most important thing is as of Monday, Plastow will not be on a bus backup because there'll be another individual there to run a bus.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
So just whether it would be you or somebody else at the next school board meeting, could we just get an update on this?
Love to get that update, yes.
Yeah, Jack.
So first of all, I'd like to thank the parents for coming in and explaining to us your experience. That is meaningful to the board, to me at least, I'm sure everyone else. And I'd like to thank Justin for his hard work and his attention to this. And I know, if I'm not mistaken, Mary in Plastow is doing quite a bang up job over there. We love Mary. Does it make sense, and I'm just, always trying to find some, that before the year starts to have a couple alternates? I mean, even if we have a couple alternates in place, because it seems like every year we run into this, people disappearing, and I'd rather pay for 2 extra people on the front end to fill in those spots that inevitably go vacant. And I know that has a lot to do with the budgetary process, which I'm sure we'll be talking about shortly, but that's just, as I'm sitting here thinking about this, and just it seems to always repeat itself, that we lose a couple of drivers right before the season starts, the year starts. So thank you. You're welcome, thank you.
Melissa.
I just have one request. If you can ask First Student with this new bus driver that you say is coming in to start Monday in Plastow, can we request that, or strongly request that bus 104 remain, the current driver that is assigned to bus 104 remain the bus driver for bus 104 to give the parents and students of bus 104 the stability that
We
we've
talked
already
a lot
had.
about consistency and stability today.
That would be,
We have made that request.
thank you.
Anybody else about the buses? Go, Bree.
If there is inevitably a bus backup again, would it be possible for the overcrowded buses to have some type of monitor just for that time frame? Is there any people, administrator, someone we can?
School board rep.
Jack, put Jack on bus.
I'll go run.
Yes. Is it a thought?
Potentially.
It's a good idea. All right. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, going on next, student rep. Go.
Hi, it's great to be back. I have just a few photos from each of the schools that I'll put up while I talk about them. So Mr. Zanello is putting those on. At the high school, we just had our senior sunrise, so all the senior class went down at around 5:45 in the morning to the football field with 2 advisors and just hung out and watched the sunrise. And it was great to see our class president kind of put this together and our entire class exec. We have an activity fair coming up during third period for all students, between 40 clubs and activities that students can go up and look at and ask questions about. Monday is a college fair for seniors and juniors. And the new phone policy, as for that, the communication from the teachers was what to do with our phones during the day, putting them in our lockers. Everybody received locker codes and instructions on how to open a locker, because a lot of us haven't opened a locker since 6th grade. So there are signs everywhere on how to open lockers.
That's hilarious.
What's old is new again, yeah.
Yes. And it's been great so far. I feel like I have been more productive without my phone. So
Awesome.
So lockers aren't cool anymore? I love going to my
That's why
locker.
you spend so much time in yours.
Oh my goodness.
We hid
Sorry to
some,
interrupt you, Cam,
we
continue.
hid stuff in mine, but.
as
Gentlemen?
for our sports update, fall sports are underway. Many teams have already competed in regular season games. The Fall Athletic Awareness Night took place on August 26th. Parents, coaches, student athletes gathered at the PAC to meet their coaches and cover athletic department expectations. The theater and music season has just opened up with classes and extracurriculars. This past in August, we had marching band camp, and it was a great success. We're looking forward to our first performance at the home game September 12th. And there's a milkman show coming up the 22nd. The middle school, 8th grade completed their field trips to our community partner, Adventure Lore, where they worked on team building skills through various fun physical group challenges. A couple of the highlighted themes were empathy and kindness. Our students had a great time representing Timberlane well. Pollard had Meet the Teacher Night, and it was a great success. They want to thank the PTA for supporting for supporting them with pizza and ice cream social around this event. Had a great opening and looking forward to the great year. Danville had a great start to the year and is looking for an amazing year of learning. Sandown Central, they have been busy playing and learning. Sandown Central has been busy playing and learning all routines of being in school. They have a PTA and back to school bash on Saturday, September 13th from 12 to 2 at Sandown Central. All are welcome to come. Sandown North had a wonderful grade 1 transition camp before the school week. 42 students joined for the 4-day event. School theme of the year is Adventure Awaits. Looking forward to a new year of learning, and their message is embracing lifelong learning in an ever-changing world. Lastly, Atkinson Academy had a great start to the school year. They had their school-wide theme is positivity, spelled P-A-W-S, ativity, which will guide students and staff into fostering and sharing positivity throughout school life. They're looking forward to their night owls, who will host an ice cream social Friday, September 12th. That's all I have.
All right.
Thanks,
Good job.
Thank you, Cam.
If I could ask a question of our student rep here. In general, first day, kids who are used to using their cell phone, it went more smoothly or about as chaotic as you would have expected?
It went more smoothly than I would have thought. It was definitely a learning curve. I mean, some students just always reaching for their phone and nothing in their pocket.
You guys are gonna be doing the fast draw for a couple months, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like more students have been participating in class and it's been helpful phone-wise. As for technology, it has been a little bit of a setback with students using their own personal computers and such. The Chromebooks, especially the seniors who have the oldest Chromebooks in the district, are getting slow. So it is very difficult sometimes even to open up a simple Google document. But other than that, it has been going well for the phone wise.
Thank
Yeah, so 2 quick questions. Do the students resent the fact that, or do they understand the purpose behind it?
I think it depends on the students.
Fair enough. No,
Well
that's
said,
fine.
sir.
Second question,
Well done.
where are you in the progression of your Eagle Scout? I know you had some type of event, but where are you in that process?
I went to my Eagle Board of Review and just received the rank of Eagle Scout.
Good for
Right.
you.
Moving on to personnel report, I'm gonna turn over to Justin Krieger.
Jamie Parsons, I'm bringing forward for you tonight. You've already accepted his nomination as the new principal over at Danville Elementary School. He just wanted to take some time out of his evening. I've asked Jamie to be here just to introduce himself for 30, 60 seconds, kind of give you the lay of the land about where he's from and how he got here, then entertaining any inquiries from the board to kind of set Jamie on the right course. So welcome. Great start to the year, man.
Thank you, Justin. Pentucket High School, class of 1989, right here.
Jamie's locker was in the same hallway as mine. True story.
Did not know that. Grateful. That's my word right now that is resonating. I'm just grateful to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity. And I have to say, it's been a fantastic opening for me. The learning curve has been steep so far. In addition to Pentucket 1989, I bring to the table 27 years in education, 15 as a school administrator at the secondary level, middle and high school. And I think I am well qualified to make an impact, a positive impact at Danville. And I have to say, the staff has been so gracious and supportive over the course of my short time here. I want to send a big shout out to Tiffany Eaton, assistant principal, who without her, I mean, I know nothing right now, very little right now, but without her, it would be impossible. So she has been a great support, and I think that she and I complement each other well. The families and students have just been so fantastic. I'm used to working with students that are that size, and so working with some of the smaller ones, it's been great. Seeing their smiling faces, and they're so happy and so joyous, and so it really has been refreshing. So again, grateful to be here and happy to have a positive impact and advocate for the staff and the students over at Danville. So thank you very much for your time. Happy to entertain any questions you might have while I'm here.
Welcome to the team.
Thank you very much.
Any questions?
I already know everything about Jamie. So.
Okay.
It's been a while.
All right.
Thank you for taking time out of your evening to come in.
As Shauna said, thank you for taking time out of your evening to come and speak with
My
us.
pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
See you tomorrow, Jamie.
Thank you.
Starting on page 17 and 19 of your board packet on the line, we do have some names that we need to read into the record that we approved during our summer thing, and then we have one resignation we have to accept.
I'm reading into the record electronically signed personnel reports dated August 12th, August 19th, and August 26th. The professional nominations of Lalit Saini, science teacher at Timberlane High School, D. Jamie Parsons, principal at Danville Elementary School, Nancy Parsons, special education teacher at Danville Elementary School. In addition to professional resignation of Christopher Schneider, principal, Danville Elementary School.
Okay, those just have to be read in because they've already been approved. All right, next is our current business. Again, if you look at page 29 of your packet, guys, this is the unassigned fund balance. Maria, I believe you're up.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening, Maria.
The unassigned fund balance this year
As you all know, it starts with the unassigned fund balance from the prior year. That was 16.4 million. We received revenues on 74.7 million. Then we have expenditures of 83.4 million. And then the difference between the encumbrances from the prior year and this year, which is very minimal. The total unassigned fund balance this year is 7.6 million. There are a couple of things, usually additional revenues and savings in the expenses that contribute to this unassigned fund balance. This year in the revenue side, we have a decrease actually of the catastrophic aid. This is something that Superintendent Krieger reported to the school board a few months back, that the aid that the state gives us for this special education side of the equation was reduced. So I wanted to display that reduction in that aid for you to see what the impact was. We receive a little bit, $60,000 on other state and federal funds. Medicaid, we were able to collect $95,000 more than what was expected. Vocational transportation, this is actually a grant that Kelly Salovich applied for to reimburse us for some of the costs that we incurred in vocational transportation, and we were granted the grant. So that's that additional money. The next one is the track grant reimbursement. As you know, we applied for the grant when we decided to renovate the grant. We finally got refunded the money that was awarded to us under that grant. Tuition revenue, this is the preschool and kindergarten tuition. We got $250,000 above what we were expecting to have. And then our interest income this year was $560,000. On the expense side, we have some savings. Salaries and benefits, we have $5.4 million in savings. As you all know, there are positions that were vacant throughout the year. We also eliminated 55 positions last year. So that's the result of those positions and the benefits that accompany those positions. Contracted services, we had a $510,000. Also, as you know, a lot of the positions that were in field were filled by contracted services. It was a very heavy flow of contractors that we had last year, and we requested some transfers to cover those expenses. And at the end of the day, we didn't need all the money that was transferred for salaries for that. So that's basically the explanation for that. Transportation, we have $125,000 in savings. We then use as much transportation on both sides, the regular transportation and the special education transportation. So those are the savings realized from that. Utilities, we had $155,000 savings due to the improvements that we have done, the lights that we changed with the lease money on phase one, then the boilers that we have changed, all the upgrades that we have done in our facilities with the projects that we have completed. And finally, we had $120,000 mix of supplies, equipment, and other lines, books, software, other lines that we did not spend as much as we were budgeted for. So that brings us to the $7.6 million.
So Maria's unpacked, kind of listed out the numbers for you. What I'd like to take an opportunity to do is two things. I want to point out for the board additional projects that you moved on in fiscal '25, identify those and some cost items, and then I want to unpack a couple of the lines in the revenue and the savings side for you, and I'll direct you there. But starting to remind the board that you made some determinations at the close of the year to expend an additional $4.1 million. That included 5 major projects. One was the firewalls in terms of our technology. The other was the Atkinson Belfry, and that was at a total of $641,000. You also moved on the fence replacement that we see ongoing out on the main campus for $138,000. You made the big decision and fiscally sound decision to prepay phase 1 of the lease for a little over $3 million. And I also brought to you the NECC special education program that we use fiscal '25 funds for. That was about $218,000. So the unassigned fund balance would have had that additional $4 million of it if the board didn't take some of those prudent actions toward the end of the year. I wanted to remind the board and the public of that. Also looking at the revenue side of the unassigned fund balance. Some things that I want to highlight for you. The first is the Medicaid line. This is a really good trend because we had collected a lot of revenue 3 years prior. We were down in the negative last year, and seeing this here lets me know we're on the right trajectory in terms of rebuilding that system. We've got a different vendor, and we've got a little bit tighter process on our side. So I'm looking to see that continue to grow through the years. Maria mentioned the vocational transportation. That's a direct result of the district taking extra efforts to go out and secure additional monies that it had not planned on, specifically for getting students to CTE programming, which you know does not reside in our district. Track and field, we know that was a grant came in. The tuition revenue was significantly tightened from the previous year. So if you looked at the unassigned fund balance and where that savings was the previous year, that number was at $500,000. So that's in half in terms of that expectation. I think that's us tightening our methodology here. Under the savings side, I'd like to unpack the salaries and benefits line for you. Of that $5.4 million, $1.2 million is teaching salaries, professional teachers. $500,000 of that are paraeducator salaries of vacant positions not filled. $1 million of that is the FICA and New Hampshire retirement contributions to those unfilled positions. Two other things I want to point out with that number that helps explain it and also look forward. Last year, as Maria cited, we eliminated 54 to 55 positions in the district. 14 of them carried people. So they were part of the expense, the money that went out the door. 40 of them were not people. Open and vacant positions all year. That directly contributes to the size of that $1.2 million for the salary figures there. The other thing I want to point out to you is the year prior to this unassigned fund balance, we had a departure of 38 professional staff members. Of that 38 professional staff, 8 to 10 of them, I believe, were retirements. So as people are exiting, typically on a top step, and we're bringing people at a lower, that delta for those 10 positions is also what you see contributing to the savings here. And I think I reported out at the last meeting and certainly at opening the staff, that number of people leaving the district is drastically reducing over time right now. We brought 17 new professional staff into the district this year, as opposed to 38 the year prior, as opposed to 49 the year prior to that. Also on contracted services, I want to remind the board, we fully expended that line. The additional monies there are actually from salaries that we moved. We just simply missed the mark a bit and overcompensated a little bit at the end of the school year. In addition to that, we lost contractors, as Maria alluded to, through the year. When we first began reporting to you in March, we had 75. We ended the year at 59. So we were paying less people over the course of the year. Transportation also got a whole lot tighter from the previous year's unassigned fund balance. Again, suggesting we've got some tightening controls of how we're budgeting for those pieces. And the thing that's not here that I absolutely want to point out to you is that there is no leftover out-of-district tuition money. The year prior, it was over $1.2 million. So again, that's us tightening our parameters about who those kids are, what those actual costs are going to be. I'm really proud of the district this year in terms of where we ended up there. That's why you don't see it there, because there wasn't any extra savings there. Awesome. I'd open up for any thoughts, questions, comments from the board for either Maria or I.
We'll do Mark and then Mary Ann and then I think Jack.
So looking at this real fast under the savings, we have 5.4 under salaries and benefits and another 500 under contracted. So almost 1.5 million in salaries and benefits. Savings that we had, which is a good thing, which we hadn't expected. We have an additional $1 million in additional revenue. A lot of that has to do with the track grants for $200,000, the BOC transportation $125,000, and interest income at $560,000. I understand how challenging this must be, trying to project ahead, not knowing what interest rates are, but you add all those up, and it's actually good news that we have this. And it's good news that it's not larger because we're tightening the belt, but some of that revenue is unexpected and due to going out and looking for grants, for looking for greater transportation. So even though from the outset, somebody watching in TV land might look at this as being, financially gray and fuzzy, it'd be less fuzzy if we didn't go out and search for those extra monies and the grants monies. The surplus would actually be less if we weren't proactive in trying to save money. just looking at it from a different perspective. Am I reading the tea leaves right?
Yeah, and I think it's also just a good reminder to remind folks that the unassigned fund balance is made up of two primary pieces. It's revenue and it's savings. It's not just the savings part. So that's why I've cautioned people to use the word surplus. I don't think that that's an accurate description of what we're looking at here.
Is the vocational transportation grant something that needs to be applied for every year, or is it continuing?
I hope that it's something that's offered every year and we will continue to stab at it, but that I don't know.
This was a 1 year, and if it's
And if it's there
another
again,
opportunity, we'll do it again.
We know exactly what we need to do to apply and to be awarded it.
And then I just also wanted to make the statement, and I believe it to be true, is that the entire $7.6 million in the unassigned fund balance will be used to offset next year's taxes for property owners.
Correct.
Yeah,
nothing
we can't retain,
we
anything for this year anyways.
I just wanted that.
Jack and then Paul.
Yeah, my first request is, can I have a breakdown of the salaries and benefits and savings the way you described it at your own, you on your own time and
Sure.
Maria? Just because it was a good, I look at that and I will have to explain it at some point in time, and it would be nice to have that. The second thing is the utility line, the savings of the $155,000. I know we were supposed to be getting reports on how we saved on that energy based on our investments. It would be nice if, was this because we bought, what commodity do we buy on, I remember you guys coming in, I think it was electricity, right? I'd like to see where that savings is coming from, if that's possible in some report.
Absolutely. I think other board members have the same kind of notion. We are organizing to have that presentation about usage and costs at the board meeting with EEI and the district doing a presentation on September 18th for you.
Yeah, that was in the background, yep.
Paul?
So the 7611, is that net of us deciding to cover the encumbrances? Or is that number change?
Yeah, no, encumbrances are part of that. Encumbrances, what encumbrances are just POs that are still open from the prior year that we have a legal obligation
Right, so the
or our
math,
contract already with.
so the math there, it's already in there. So I have,
Yes.
and that's an action for tonight, correct?
Yes, it is.
So
Where are you going?
Yep, me too.
the encumbrances are different on the top and then the bottom. It says 1221090, it's about 50,000.
Yeah, because we add back the encumbrances from the prior year and then we take away the encumbrances from the current year because we are moving that money to be paid this year. So the first line that you see, is the 2024 encumbrances.
Yeah, got that?
And then the second line is we subtract the fiscal year 2025 because those will be expenses that will be generated this year, that will be paid for this current year.
Yep, got that. And then on the next page, it says FY 2025 encumbrances in the amount of 1271056 is different than the FY 2025 encumbrances that are listed above at 1221090.
Yeah, next encumbrance page is higher.
Dropped by about 50,000, it's like 49,900 something.
Right. I'm so sorry, I apologize.
Paul, you're looking at the next item in the agenda?
Well, yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
okay.
also recommended as part of the action, but I just don't know which number to take action on. I mean, we could just say cover the encumbrances, I suppose.
Yeah, no.
But
I apologize, yes, I'm sorry, I don't know what the.
So is
it's
the,
about $50,000.
so Maria, is the encumbrances that we need to vote on, the 1271056, is that the correct number?
Yes, because that's the one that.
Okay, that is the correct number. Okay, it's just a typo on
Yeah,
that.
I apologize.
It's okay.
Yes. Thank you for
Thank
bringing
you.
that up.
I don't mean to
Thank you.
point out mistakes, I just didn't know what.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm very sorry.
It's a team, Paul.
There's a reason why it was
There's a lot going on.
Yes.
All right, any other questions about the unassigned fund balance?
Bree, just clarification question. So when we see that beginning fund on the page and it says 16 million, because that was the unassigned the previous year.
Correct.
So now moving forward, that 7.6 million will be that starting
Correct.
for next year to then go through.
Yes.
Great, thanks for clarifying.
Mark?
And could you just one more time go over the numbers that Jack was asking for, because I think that is all telling. And that's the biggest, egg in the nest here, so it'd be nice to parse that.
Salary.
Yeah, salary and benefits, yeah.
Of the number you see there, $1.2 million is teacher salary. About $500,000 is paraeducator salary. $1 million is FICA and New Hampshire retirement attached to those positions. And then $2.3 million is health insurance.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Okay, that's it for the unassigned fund balance. Next is the FY 25 encumbrance, which is an action that we've already spoken about, which the encumbrance, again, is something that we have to do every year. These are POs that have already been written. And that dollar amount is $1,271,056. We do need a motion to encumber those funds.
I think Paul should make it.
He did catch it.
I would like to make a motion to approve the FY 2025 encumbrances. The amount of 1.2, which one?
1.271.
Yeah,
056.
71056, $1,271,056.
All right, motion made by Paul. Do I have a second? Seconded by Jack. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed and abstained. All right. Next, budget committee presentation calendar.
I was like, we're not making a budget preview.
No. And again,
Quick save calendar.
Board members, this is page 33.
Sharing the budget committee calendar with all of you. Those meetings are set in terms of the presentations that you see there are listed in the grid. You'll notice that beyond the grid, there are 3 to 4 rows for additional meetings. And that's when we will kind of get into the personnel pieces of things. And that's when BudCom will begin to make any of the adjustments that they're going to do. Later in the admin report, I will walk you through what those presentations will look like. But this is for your listening pleasure. If you want to tune in and keep updated, you are welcome to do that across the calendar. Those meetings will be, of course, televised.
And since we're on the budget, there has been a change by the state on the school board rep that sits on the school's budget committee. That individual gets to sit, we can participate, but we no longer have any voting power. So can't make motions, can't vote, but a member is expected to be there. Currently, I'm the rep, and I'll be there, but I might be asking people to fill in because that is a very busy committee. And then it's just a good learning opportunity. So if anyone else wants to sit in there, so the board rep no longer has a voting power.
That came from the state.
Let me ask you.
Yeah, that came from the state. Yeah, Jack.
So up until now, if I'm not mistaken, we have an odd number before this ruling or this change, we had an odd number of members on the budget committee, correct?
I believe so. I'd have to-
Now you have, I'm just talking from a voting standpoint, typically boards and committees are comprised of odd numbers, so you don't always end up in a tie on everything. Now, if you don't have the ability to vote, would there be any change? I don't see any changes in the representation, but
I think it would be the same, like with anything that we would do. If it's a majority vote and it's a tie or whatever, then it doesn't pass.
it's just a weird dynamic where
It
you
is.
have an even number of voting members.
But again, this came from the state level, so can't do nothing about it. Anybody else?
Sissy.
All right, moving on. Next thing is our annual meeting and election calendar. Some dates to kind of put people's attention to is the January 15th is the public hearing on proposed budgets, bonds, and that is going to be, as of right now, 7 p.m. at the PAC. Snow date is January the 16th. And then currently, as it stands right now, deliberative session will be on February 5th. Again, that'll be at the PAC, and it'll start at 7 p.m. And then there's a snow day, which will be between the first and second Saturdays following the last Monday in January is the snow day. No, snow date is February 6th. Do not listen to me at all. But that is, and then voting is March 10th at the respective town places, which as we get closer, we'll make more of those announcements as we get there. Anything to add to the meeting or election calendar? Anybody have anything? Yeah, Dawn, go ahead, sorry.
I just want to thank Justin for reinforcing to the district employees, staff, that the importance of going to deliberative session and voting if you can, and being aware of the budget season and the impact it can have on the working conditions and everything else. I thought it was a good timing, good time to remind them of the importance of something that impacts them, but doesn't necessarily always get their attention when we need it.
Mark, go ahead.
As an aside, dovetailing with that, I know we had discussed and we're looking for public feedback on potentially looking at different times because there were some folks who were frustrated the last deliberative that it was so late, and they were questioning whether it would make more sense for more people to be able to make it on a weekend rather than a work night and a school night. Since then, I have started talking with people and put the feelers out. I'd recommend you all do the same. How can we get the greatest number of our constituents out there? If it's sticking the same, that's great. You're not going to make everybody happy. If it's Saturday and that would open it up to more people, that's something we should certainly entertain. So put your feelers out.
Yes, Jack.
Yeah, just one more dovetail on that. I received a number of calls this weekend about a number of changes within the district. And that's one of the nights where a lot of those decisions are made. So my point is, if you're not happy with the decisions being made, you need to step up and participate.
100%. Moving on to TRHS end of year dates. This is gonna be page 35, which is the very next one. Justin, did you wanna speak to this or?
Just recognizing Patty Mangini for getting end of the year dates out to you and me in September. Just so that there's some clarity about what the end of the year will look like. But in all seriousness, I think I've said this before, it starts with graduation and then everything is kind of backed up. There's just so many things that happen at the high school for so many different kids. And it's mapped out here for you.
Okay, and this is something that we kind of do every year, just so they can start doing stuff. Someone wanna make a motion to approve the SY?
Make a motion to approve the school year 2025-2026 end of year dates with the graduation date of June 13th, 2026.
Motion made by Shauna, do I have a second? Second. Ooh, seconded by Dawn, he was quicker. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor? Opposed and abstain. All right, moving on. Next is the 2025 New Hampshire School Board Associated Delegate Assembly. This is page 36, very next page. We will need to eventually, I think, did Mary Ann, Dawn, were one of you?
Well, Mary Ann and I talked and she'll back me up, but I'm gonna be, I think we both get listed. One is the delegate, one is the alternate.
Okay.
Okay. So far it looks like an open date.
Okay.
Maybe if it has a baseball game, it could be having a
And as soon as we start, cause the board will have to kind of eventually, like everything at that they will send out a big form that has all the questions and way of voting and stuff like that. So we just we'll make sure that Kelly usually does a really good job with getting that out to us, so we have a chance to look at it. That way you guys kind of have an idea of like which way we'd like for you to vote.
Kelly also reminded me it was Mary Ann and Don, just to remind us tonight that that's who.
I remembered.
You did.
All right.
It says here in the agenda to nominate Don Wilbur. Do we have to make a motion to nominate who our representative is gonna be?
I think they had to just tell,
You know what? If you wanna be safe.
there's a date that I think there's a date they have to submit in line, so.
Make a motion to nominate Don Woodworth and Mary Ann Springer as the alternate to represent Timberlane Regional School Board at the NHSB Delegate Assembly.
Second. Motion made by Shauna, seconded by Alyssa. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed and abstain. 2 abstentions.
No.
You can vote for yourself. Show confidence.
All right. All right, next up is the lease, next lease phase. This is informational. This is the last page. It's 38.
I am happy to
No,
talk.
37, sorry. No,
37?
38, I was right, 38. Go ahead.
I'll be happy to talk to you. So as I previewed at the last meeting, the facilities committee was gonna be presenting two pathways for consideration tonight. Just for the overview for you, we are about 60% through the expending the $25 million lease, meaning about $15 million have gone out the door, leaving about $10 million still to draw on. You can see those totals in the overview. In the executive summary, under the completed phases and projects section, there is a link there that will bring you to not only the completed project list, things that are already done and money has been expended, but also the future project list that ties to the about $10 million remaining on the lease. There is also a $296,043.45 that's been identified in real time through the project development since the inception of phase one. That also is available for the board to consider expending on additional projects. So in terms of facilities committee, they're bringing two pathways before the board for consideration. There's no action that is required tonight. This is meant to be a discussion tonight, potentially again on September 18th. But again, the end goal here is that as an administration, we're looking for some direction by October in terms of securing the best pricing and how we want to move. To define it, pathway one simply really says that the district would make one more draw on the lease at one time, and then schedule those projects that would make sense construction-wise, potentially over the course of 1 or 2 years. Pathway two provides the option of the board is very similar to how we've been operating. With the $10 million left, we would enter and access that money additionally in phases, whether that's 2 or 3 phases over the course of time. So it's not necessarily about changing any projects. In fact, it's not about that at all. It's about how the board wishes to access the money that's still available and how many times you want to go back to do that for. And again, discussion. We have some consumption and some energy data coming to the board on September 18th to help with those discussions. But if you really wanted to look at what is left to plan, those projects are broken down by school on the attachment toward the bottom of the page. You can see there's still work projected at Timberlane High School, Atkinson Academy, the PAC, the middle school, Sandown North, and Pollard. I am happy to entertain any questions or queries the board has. I know that Jack and Mark on facilities may also want to have some commentary and some responses to some of those questions.
I just want to comment also, Danville.
Did I miss Danville on the list? I introduced the new Danville principal tonight.
That was your one thing, Danville.
Yes, Danville's on the list. Thanks, Bri.
All right, Jack and Mark, do you all have anything from facilities you want to add to Justin?
I do. So when we look at this, my original gut instinct was the faster we get out of these phases, the more money we potentially would save. It's not a huge savings, but it's enough. The other thing is these particular items that we have here aren't necessarily written in granite. Where I'm going with this, I don't think a decision needs to be made tonight, but I want to bring this up for the board's consideration. As you know, I've been a big proponent of fixing the envelope of the high school. It's the first thing that the CIP has on their CIP list for next year. The budget number for that I think we got earlier on was $400,000. I think it would be, to be on the safe side, maybe a couple $100,000 more than that, but that's just me kind of winging it. But my guess is I don't want to say it's 4 and then it ends up being 7. I would like to see that incorporated into this, that it would be wrapping up the building, making it watertight, lending more insulation to it, so it does have an energy component to it. And as I look at some of the things that we're considering, just in my humble opinion, I think that's more important, similar to the HVAC, which I know supposedly increases performance of the students. I always looked at HVAC as a health issue, right? Clean, fresh air. We're required by the EPA to have certain standards when it comes to that. Same thing with the bathrooms. We've been told that I would really like these kids to, we just got all the new bollards in front of the high school. It looks stunning with all the lights on. The problem is it really shows all the imperfections in I call it the cardboard wall. And it's time we rectify that, and it would be nice I want to get all this work done and over with so we can move on with education. That's what we're here to do. We're supposed to be educators, not contractors. So it's something I'd like everyone to consider.
Mark and then Bree.
Yeah, so Jack and I have spoken about this in the meeting facilities. We don't necessarily see eye to eye in the prioritization. That's part of the reason why I would like some of the input from you folks and just seeing what is more important or less important or of equal value to the cost potentially in the envelope of the building. So those are some of the discussion points that we didn't necessarily see eye to eye on, both valid points from both camps. But you know, this is where we'd like you folks to kind of weigh in and ask questions for us to follow up. And if we can answer any of them here, we certainly will.
Great. And I don't know the answer to this, and I don't know if anyone will, but I just kind of want to put it out there. So if we do everything in one big phase, we save money on interest and like things that inflation. We save money on inflation and we get it done. We're doing a bulk of work at the same time, so maybe renting those equipments or kind of, you know, when you bulk buy, you get more bang for your buck, as Jack would say. And then our other opportunity here is to roll out in smaller phases. Would we also have then the opportunity to kind of smaller chunk off prepay some of those as we did this past time for further saving in the long run in that sense? Again, I don't personally know the answer to these, I'm asking the question.
So pretty much which way do you save more money? Do you take it all at once or do you do the smaller phase and pay it off?
Do we know like kind of?
Would it make sense to have Maria do a financial analysis of that?
Hold up. Justin?
I would, looking at the horizon, I do not see an opportunity for this board to be using significant unassigned fund balances for the near future. I don't see it happening. We are at an $82 million spend this year. We have an $82 million budget. So I think the opportunities that we've had, I'm not so sure are going to continue to present themselves. That said, when they do present themselves, if you look at something like phase 2 at a $10 million cost, that's going to be outside the realm of prepayment for us. We're not going to get there. If you are interested in structuring things with the ability to still prepay, then you'd want to lean toward doing smaller phases, right? And at least make that available an option. But in terms of weighing those things, all of those, whatever calculations we put forward, they're going to be projections. And we'll make the best decision that we can.
Thank you.
Marianne, go ahead.
I would have there been consideration given to not expending any more of this money, saving all the interest by not spending any more on these, and trying to do some of the most important projects through CIP and what's the current balance in our capital reserve fund that could preempt any unanticipated failures of things that are due to here to be replaced.
So one of the things, and then I'll let Justin if you want to add anything, one of the problems with our CIP is that for years it was underfunded. And when we finally put some more money into it, it was not even keeping up. So when the lease was conceptualized, it was to do CIP plus all this other stuff that had kind of been dilapidated. So for me, I don't think we could not draw because I mean, you'd be beefing up your CIP. So I mean, we're still taking money, whether it's from the voters or it's from the lease. I'll let Justin add some stuff.
You were asking about the capital reserve account.
That as well.
As well, in addition to CIP.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Maria's looking at that right now. Would it be helpful for me to walk through the remaining project list and talk about the impact of some of those projects and where they stand?
You know.
Yeah.
So as you look at what's projected, what's attached to money that hasn't been expended yet, at the high school, it's about $1.5 million to finish the roof and structural renovations over there. At Atkinson, again, it's completing the roof work that's over there. At the PAC, it's putting the cooling system there. And since we'd be putting the cooling system there, we're gonna be doing the roof and the controls for that building. At the middle school, this is the continuation and completion of the HVAC work that started a year ago. At Pollard, which is a school that really has not been touched yet through this lease, there is massive work to be done over there in terms of ventilation and roofing. This is our biggest concern right now. We are working patchwork daily over there to make it a comfortable place. Danville is also gonna be the continuation and completion of that ventilation and roof work. So those are the impacts I think that are there. You're raising this idea, is there another way to continue to do this through CIP pieces?
So what I'm looking at is it's about $10 million, and one of the proposals is to do it over 3 years. So that's $3.3 million per year with no interest necessarily. And as opposed to borrowing $10 million and paying back 10 million plus interest over the next, I don't know how many years it's remaining on the lease. It's like
That we did,
Jack and then Mark's.
So, to your point, in a perfect world, the budget would have had $5 million in it for the last 5 years, and we would be paying interest on nothing. But I can assure you with great certainty, that would have gotten destroyed at deliberative session. It just wouldn't have happened. The other thing is, we kind of give the contractor lead time to be able to get stuff in and get things prepared. As I look at this list, it's always bothered me about controls. We're paying a lot of money. So I called professionals and asked the question, do we really need controls to make sure every room is within a degree or two of each other? But then you find out when the fires were going, we were able to shut down all the systems and keep the smoke out of the buildings. And the reality is with controls, only 2 or 3 manufacturers. And the professional told me that you need to, it makes perfect sense to put them in while you're putting in the systems. That's the right way to do it. So as I look at this and I just listened to what Justin just said, it seems as though out of what's left on this list, and I'm just shooting from the hip here, that Pollard is our number one concern. And then I had a discussion with someone yesterday. They said, well, do we really need a roof on the PAC Center? The roof on the PAC Center, to the best of my knowledge, has outlived its life expectancy. Do we wanna wait until we get leaks on the roof to go in and repair the roof, especially if we're gonna be doing work on top of it? So you're kind of caught in these catch-22s. I'm of the opinion, let's get the work done, get it behind us. I hate spending this kind of money, but it was through decades of neglect that we find ourselves in this position. And the unwillingness to, as Katie said, CIP was always underfunded because whenever the budget needed to be cut, well, we'd take it out of the CIP. We're our own worst enemies sometimes, in my opinion. The rest of the stuff is, you know, I really don't wanna speak to it. I guess I'd like to have someone come in and say, like, when I look at the boilers at Pollard, I have no point of reference on that. Like, how bad are the like,
I got
I need-
stories.
huh?
I got stories from
Well, I just,
teachers
like,
and
I don't
kids.
know, how old are they? I mean, that's the detail when you try and
cold in
make these kind of decisions, but you need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark and then.
my takeaway is Pollard is the neglected child in this case, but again, some of the conflicts that Jack was referring to, we wrote $700,000 between the controls, the condensers, monitors, et cetera, for the PAC. The roof is 3 years past what the warranty essentially is. It's not leaking yet, but it's 3 years past. And it was suggested to us that it will need to have some major work sooner rather than later. It's much cheaper if they do it while they're on the roof, and if they're putting all the condensers and everything else up there, there's probably going to be some damage on a roof that's past its warranty anyway. So does it make sense to spend that $800,000 on a $750,000 project that we need? Those are this is gray. There's not a right answer, there's only wrong answer. Regardless of what we decide, it'll be a wrong answer in some people's eyes. But we're looking for your guidance at this stage.
Question.
Hold on, Bree, and then Marianne, if she wants to, she's the one who's asking these questions, so.
I also just wanna point out, because I sit on CIP, and so we have roughly 1.8 million to work with, and we actually have a completely different list of projects that we're trying to work with that money on.
As it should be.
So
Marianne, if she can, and then Dawn.
So just, I don't have the expertise to debate the value of the projects. I can look at the list. I don't know about the money and the value. But I think it is worth looking at, are there other ways to fund this other than borrowing against that lease? That's all. Like, at least
done.
consider it and put it out there.
Done.
My comment really kind of addresses that. I really feel like the district voted for that, at least, to try to put us in a position to not be continually putting ourselves in a terrible position by having to pay more to get something done later. And if we don't use that money and go the CIP route year to year to year, we're gonna go back to the same mess that put us in that situation of having to go to the town, the 4 towns for that money. I get more negative comments about what we haven't done than, when they're talking about issues with money, they're saying, we gave you money and you didn't do it. You're not getting it done. What's wrong with you? You have the money. Don't give us money back. You're gonna kill us in the long run. And I see that. I've seen it for 40 years. 40 more. I've been seeing it more than half my life. So it's just, here we are again. It comes out as a suggestion. It sounds good. Will you pay less this year? But what a mistake that is over time. It puts us way behind and makes us spend so much more money. We could add a new high school for the money we haven't spent.
Maria.
I have the balance of the capital reserve fund as of June 30th. It was $453,777. That's what is left. As a reminder, we just used about $1 million last year to put the borders at risk. We used that money.
But again, for this, there's no action that needs to happen tonight. These are just thinking points. Again, how are we wanting to one Mary Ann's? Do we look at something else? Or these pathways, pathway 1, do we take the big lump sum out now? And then we could just get everything done, or do we look at doing the smaller leases? So that's something in the future that we're gonna have to decide. And then also too, it sounds like from facilities that you guys are looking for some guidance on what exactly is kind of priority, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Jack, last thing, and then we're gonna move on.
So I've heard the same thing Dawn has. It was like, why didn't you get this? You had it, why didn't you do it? So is it possible? And I don't think the timing of this is gonna work. Can we increase the amount of the CIP, double it or triple it? And then you don't have to, whatever we approve on the CIP, we could take off the lease. So say we put an extra $1 million on the CIP, you can reduce the amount that you borrow on the lease by an equal amount, which means you want to be paying interest on that equal amount. I just don't know if the timing of that is, because you don't get the approval on the CIP until after the election.
Correct.
But how can we exercise that lease kind of whenever we want? I don't know the answer to that.
Just one final reminder I'd give the board is as a lease, if the interest rates improve, we are able to refinance these phases through the process. We will work with Mark and Katie. We're gonna certainly have it as an agenda item moving forward on September 18th. We will have some energy data information to share to see what's been happening since these improvements. So we can kind of maybe have a conversation about value then as well. But again, this is not an urgent thing that needs to be done here. Let's continue to bring it here and discuss, and we'll get to a point of a decision.
Paul, yeah, go ahead.
So any energy savings, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm interested in looking at the usage. I mean, the whole point of this was as an energy lease, right? So and part of that contract is for them to come in here and demonstrate what those savings are for us.
Yeah, we wanna see dollars in kilowatt hour, we wanna see usage, cause for price adjustments.
Yes.
But yeah, hopefully that's good. And just while I'm got the floor, I like doing stuff and getting it over. We need these things, they're on here, I know they can change if something else comes up, but, and I respect all the ideas here, I'd love to find a different way to pay for it too, but we need this stuff. And there's a bunch of other stuff we need, by the way, this isn't the list of stuff we need, that's just the list of the stuff we need the most. That has to do with, dry HVAC compliant buildings and controls and everything else, and I hate stretching things out, just get it done. That's all I have to say.
Mark, and then Mark.
I'm inclined to agree. I hate stretching things out. Interest rates are low now. Let's get it done. If they get lower, we can refinance. And I'm afraid that inflationary factors are going to play in and make it extraordinarily more expensive in the future, especially with, you know, uncertainty with tariffs, et cetera, et cetera. I would just assume get it done. And the voters voted for it. They approved it, right? So I'm in favor of a shorter term, and then whether, you know, what's encompassed with that, I'd challenge everybody to, you know, kind of take a look at that over the next week or so and then come back. So we don't have to arm wrestle over it.
Steel's not getting cheaper.
Yeah, steel's not getting cheaper.
All right.
You get a personal high now.
So again, that's, this is just informational. Board members need to be thinking about that, maybe even think about possibly visiting the facilities meeting. Anybody can come to those and watch those and their projects and stuff that are going on as well. Next is our administrative report.
Awesome. What I like to do tonight, I know in August I previewed for you a little change in structure that Ms. Drexel was going to be with us here on the first meetings of the month to talk specifically through the student services section. So very happy you're here tonight, Ginger. I have very brief report tonight, so I'd ask Sandy to report out first, followed by Ginger, and I will conclude.
I also have a fairly brief report. Just updating, I know we may talk about committee reports through the board perspective, but just wanted to update the board on a regular, consistent basis that we continue to unpack the changes at the state level that are coming our way through the changes to the ED 306 rules. There are multiple new laws that were signed on the books up in Concord effective July 1. And so we had a policy committee meeting tonight. We are starting to unpack those changes and implications in policy, and we're prioritizing when we are looking at different policies as high priority, moderate, and things that maybe can wait a little bit later in the year that may not have taken effect just yet. So we expect that you will be seeing a higher than normal volume of policies coming your way. These are all a byproduct of recent legislation and changes to the minimum standards for school approval. So just wanted to keep that fresh on your minds, and that will likely be something that I continue to talk about at all of our meetings. So other than that, we had a really successful opening of schools, 2 really productive and valuable professional development days, and excited for a new year to come. So thank you. I'm gonna hand it over to Ginger. Awesome. Ginger?
So if you had been around the SAU over the last couple of weeks, you may have heard me talking about what a whirlwind I thought that the summer felt like. And then in a subsequent conversation with a colleague, I remember sort of remarking that when I was a parent of young kids and they were in the school system, I had this perception that schools were quiet in the summer. I sort of had this image of, you know, casual clothes, hot coffee, planful meetings, coffee staying hot through those meetings. And it kind of occurred to me how juxtaposed those two thoughts were. And so I thought it might be an interesting exercise to just kind of list out some of the things that have occurred through this, the Student Services Department over the course of the summer, for those that might also think that school is quiet during the summer. So if you'll indulge me, I'm just going to sort of read through the list. So summer highlights. There was one CPR class that was provided by our school nurses to train coaches and athletic department in preparation for the 25-26 school year. We offered one CPI de-escalation training that was conducted to train and recertify 8 of our administrators. We had 2 interpreters that were provided for families for whom English is a second language so that they could have meaningful participation in school meetings. We had 2 college application workshop sessions that were provided to high school seniors to help jumpstart the application process. 4 Timberlane staff provided assistance to students outside of ESY to support with participation in extracurricular activities. On 4 occasions, a paraprofessional was driven to a student's home by an administrator to meet specialized transportation when the bus monitor was absent. 12 multidisciplinary special education evaluations were initiated and completed. 22 contacts were made assisting families and accessing community-based resources. A collective of 40 days were worked this summer by our school nurses, spent stocking supplies, getting students with cell phone exceptions for medical reasons access to Wi-Fi, and outreaching to families to connect about medical updates. We had 50 transfer students at the secondary level that were invited into schools to create schedules and tour buildings. We had 62 contracts that were signed to ensure that we have paraprofessionals, case managers, and related service providers ready to meet the needs of students on the first day of school. 77 families were contacted by phone or email to confirm bus schedules for specialized transportation for the first day of school. A collective of 88.5 days were worked by our secondary school counselors, connecting with families, making schedule changes, participating in meetings, and planning for fall events such as the college fair, which will happen next Monday. Our school nurses worked a collective of 120 hours during our EUSY programs this year to ensure that students had access to medical care during summer programming. 168 students participated in extended school year programming this year. 175 families were contacted by secondary school counselors regarding 504 plan renewals. In addition, 41 in-person 504 meetings were held for incoming 6th and 9th grade students to establish connections with new families. And more than 250 phone calls and emails were sent to families in district by special education administrators from pre-K all the way up to high school, reaching out to make introductions, make connections, and learn about their experiences with the district. While I'm certain that this is not an exhaustive list, it does kind of give a little bit of an illustration of some of the things that occurred when things are maybe presumed to be quiet.
It is a lot. Thank you.
And demonstrates the diversity of work that the school district does. One item for the board, I just wanted to give you a preview of what the budget presentations will look like for the budget committee. Marie and I have done a lot of work together, and I'm going to have a consistent presentation for every budget presenter, be it a principal or director. They are going to start by talking about part of the whole. So as I sit down for the first time and talk about the SAU budget, I'm going to let the budget committee know that that part of the budget is 0.13% of the overall operating budget. I want them to understand the context of that in the larger scope. We'll do that for every presentation. We'll also have then a slide about numbers. This is going to be the ability for the budget presenter to almost do a little bit about what Ginger did, but really set the tone about who or what does this budget support or benefit. So who's benefiting from the dollars that are attached to this. The third slide will be the budget presenter going through the drivers. What are those major drivers of that overall budget? And lastly, we're going to be asking folks to report out what are called seeds. So as these budget presenters look forward beyond the actual year we're looking at, which is how good budgeting works, they're going to be previewing things that they see as either challenges or potential savings down the road for the budget committee. We'll then close with part of the whole again to remind folks about what we're actually talking about in the grand scheme of things, and then we'll have discussion. But that will be the common presentation of the budget committee. It's the only thing I wanted to share this evening.
All right. Moving on, committee reports. Marion? Paul?
Policy was covered, so I'm good, thanks.
Melissa?
No updates.
Bree?
Jack's gonna talk about CIP.
Cool. Shauna?
The next curriculum and assessment meeting is October 1st. There's going to be a lot of things that are brought to the agenda that we'll be bringing forward to the board regarding the ED 603 things that were mentioned by Sandy. Also, Wellness Committee generally has 3 meetings each year, and we're hoping to get the first meeting on the books in October. And that's all I have. Mark?
Jack's talking about CIP. I'll just briefly hit facilities, the discussions that we had here earlier, the discussions that we had during CIP. We also had the opportunity to take a look at 2 architectural firms that came in showing us their wares and what they had to offer for the looking into the first portion of the bathrooms. 2 different firms, some overlapping, and we have further discussion. But it was insightful to see the tools that they brought to the table, the experiences they have had in municipal buildings, collegiate buildings, high schools, middle schools, and other public institutions, trying to update and make the most private of spaces fully functional in serving our students in an appropriate way.
Safety Committee met a couple weeks ago, and then the next one will be on the 10th of September, the ALICE training for the things for the students. I believe notifications have already been sent out to the elementary schools about the half day. Is that what it is? It's going to be half day. And then negotiations are in full swing. We are negotiating 4 unions, correct?
Correct.
I believe all of the unions have had their first meeting, correct? As of today. All right. So that was just ground rules and everything. So now we should be getting into the meat and potatoes of some things. And that's all I have. Done.
Well, but I wanna say, looking forward to hearing more about that cell phone procedure, how it works, how it feels over time. I think the committee is the policy committee is gonna, wanna get that feedback. It's busy time for change, and I think that's one of the interesting ones from the student perspective. And I'm glad to hear that your first assessment of it was that it went a little smoother than you expected, so that's good. As far as just other updates, are we going on other things beyond policy and committees, or is this just committees?
You can update whatever you
I just want to say the middle school kids went to Danville for Adventure War. They were awesome. I mean, the staff that came with them was a big part of what was going on there. We had substitute teacher, we had guidance people, we had teachers, we had paras, all watching their kids kind of learn a different way. And they responded really well. They were very appreciative. They were great to each other. They took risks. They did challenging things. They had fun. They had some struggles, and then they felt great leaving. So I was real proud of them. So tell Mitch, thumbs up. That was a good choice.
Jack?
Yeah, well, our last CIP meeting was canceled, I believe, right? But just to redo the prior one, Dr. Martin put us through a very nice exercise where we went around the room and prioritized those things in order in which we think belong on the CIP. We also tried, and we continue to try to tighten up the list and make it more concise and limit the amount of things on it. And I think our next meeting will be getting ready to present for the budget, getting a presentation ready for the budget committee and finalizing everything with the group. I guess I'll take this opportunity now so you can go with if that's.
Are you done with your committee report?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Is there any other business at this time besides Jack?
These are all good things.
Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, first I'd like to thank the teachers and the staff and the administration for kicking off the year. I know I did not hear about any bus issues, but of course, so that stuff is not easy, and I appreciate all the hard work. I was able to attend before the first day of school, all the teachers getting into place, and I think the administration does a very good job of working very hard at trying to develop a culture within the organization. So, you sit there for an hour and you watch stuff that goes on, and there's a lot of smiling, laughing, and clapping, and getting the year off the right way. So thank you very much. Then I have a question around policy. Shauna, maybe you can help me with this. When it comes to the charge or the usage fees, I forget which policy that is off the top of my head.
Oh, I do too.
But I
know what one
to make a long story short, the question to the board is, or to the administration is, if we have a group that is a in-district group trying to, because we address this with the classrooms and everything, promoting the district and enhancing what we do, I think the fee is minimal, but do we charge that group? If you want to sidebar later with this, that's fine by me, but I attended a meeting where it's like, yeah, we're gonna have to pay a fee, and I'm like, oh, it's an in-district public group that's providing a service for the district, and they're nonprofits, so do they fall under that policy?
So the policy is, and procedure, and Justin help me out if I'm remembering incorrectly, but if they feel as though they're looking for a waiver, they can go through a process to connect with Justin regarding that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And the last thing is, I heard some stuff described around our school board policies. Specifically our goals, our school board goals around proficiency. Did we come to a final decision on what all those goals are and how they are written? Have we seen them?
Goals are done.
Yes, so sorry, do you?
No, go ahead,
okay.
Shauna, you were.
I physically wrote them. We all collaborated on them. No, the school board goals are done, but my understanding connected to that was, yes, there is a goal related to proficiencies, but what that goal is and what the measurements are and the target points are will be the administrative responsibility to bring to us.
I thought this was my understanding, is that we wanted to set some type of target.
Not with
And I don't think we all agreed on that, but I thought it was left open-ended in that meeting. We did not come to a conclusion on that specific goal.
So that goal was.
And unless you have a target, you really don't have a goal.
No, so our goals are not supposed to be so narrow. It's supposed to be that we have a broader thing, which we did. That goal stated about proficiencies along with other things, such as reporting us better and showing like some of our students that have come and they're going to underwater welding or they've become pilots and better producing that
That's
stuff.
not
And that was something
Yeah,
that
that's not proficiency.
it was proficiency along with that.
Correct.
Right.
And
Yes.
that goal has been done. And so we're waiting now for the administration to bring it to us.
So yes, Jack, in answer to your question, if I'm hearing you correctly, proficiency was part of that. That was not
Yes.
the end. That was one of the points that some of us felt strongly should be reported on a regular basis and will be.
Just to reiterate what the board approved as its goal.
I was just gonna try and.
Use a comparison group of New Hampshire school districts to evaluate recent state proficiency data and establish goals for the academic year 26-27.
Yep.
Okay, I have to go back and I
That was my recollection.
I know that's the discussion that we had, no doubt about it. But I didn't think we had come to a firm definitive. I know we talked about 25 similar schools in southern New Hampshire that we use as the what's the word you always use? Cohort.
Comparison.
Cohort. And I understand that, but I don't know if that, and if this is set in granite, that's fine, it's a decision of the board, I respect that. But I don't know if that helps us set a target for everybody, and I won't get into the dynamics of it tonight, but I've been watching a lot of consultants and a lot of things going on, and it's something that now that I've had a conversation with Justin about it, particular interest in. Yeah, it's great. Underwater welders are fantastic. They make $300,000-400,000 a year. Great career path. But I wanna make sure that whatever career path those students take, that they're able to read, and they're able to do math at a level that we all find to be proficient, for lack of a better term, because I think we shortchange them. So anyways, thank you.
Did you have something?
Yeah, just a kind of a question, I get some feedback, I didn't really have an answer. We direct them to call, the superintendent of schools or the principal of the school. But when the kids are, as a group, going to, say Camp Lincoln, and they're being charged to go.
Yeah, $50.
They have to go?
No,
No.
There's
So some kids go and other kids don't?
yeah, you can opt out of it.
Yep, so can I?
Go ahead,
And
Sean.
is this kind of a what happens when we have a budget that's too tight and we're not able to do some things that we would like to do over time?
Equity
Yes.
bubbles.
And it kind of creates,
Equity.
halves and half-nots. I think it's pretty sad, and I really like to look at ways to address that and not to drop that type of conversation from the public conversation. Because I think people need to understand that it seems like a small amount, but it adds up, and so we're kind of hurting in that regard because we don't want to be doing that.
So, hold on, did you wanna say something first?
Just again, wanted to remind the board in April, when I came back for the second kind of preview discussion about reductions. You approved 172 discrete line item reductions from principals and directors for a total of $765,208. We were very clear that those reductions included passing on field trip costs to families. This is something that we are going to be attempting through the budget committee to restore the funding. The programs that we do, we feel are invaluable to the academic programming of the district. Therefore, there should be an obligation to fund those pieces. But this year, it is not in the budget for that. This is why we were asking families for their support.
And there is one of my children's going on that this year, and one of the letters states that if you have a child that wants to go and your hardships, you're to contact them. That it seems like there are pathways. So, but yeah, unfortunately, this is what this is. It sucks, but this is what this is. Shauna, did you have something?
Yeah, I was contacted by a few families. I'm also an 8th grade parent. My kid was there today. My 8th grader said today was fun, so that's a lot of information, which I'm very excited to go home and hear more details about because I want to know what that fun is. But total sidebar. So the letter that went home to parents, I have to say, was extremely well written by the administration at the middle school, which clearly outlined the field trip, the expectations. It followed the pentameter of every other field trip form I got, which is that your child can opt in or opt out of the field trip. Because I have 2 kids, I think one would opt out of a field trip and one is like, get me out of school. Oh, sorry, it's an educational experience. But more importantly, right?
Yes, it is.
Some children, it is. I joke. All joking aside, some kids don't want to go on a field trip. It's not their thing. They'd rather stay with their preferred building, their preferred classroom things. So, parents have the right to approve or decline the field trip. And then there was the cost statement at the end of the letter, and I have to say it was very well written. I was personally contacted by 5 or 6 different families talking about the cost. We talked about the reduction and the budget and the result of that. I encourage them to go to deliberative session because being an active part of that process is what helps formulate the budget and gets put on the ballot. But more importantly, what I heard was 2 things. That the middle school administration was extremely supportive and responsive to the families that felt anxious and worried about being able to afford the opportunity for their children and their needs were met. That there was flexibility from the middle school in terms of, one family was like, that's a lot of money for me to come up with at once because I got 3 kiddos and I'm a single parent, but I can pay it out over an extended period of time. That was a reasonable and meaningful opportunity. And then some families who just felt that wasn't within their budget, that wasn't going to be a possibility and opted for their kids to stay home for the day. I think I'll say be part of the process, come to deliberative.
Jack.
Just on the camp and I too get a whole host of telephone calls, typically from the people I don't get calls from, right? These are well-adjusted. Camp Lincoln has kind of been a rite of passage, if you will, coming into the 6th grade. When you speak about climate and culture, I know how my kids left that place starting off in middle school. It's a way for them to interact with the other kids that they quite don't know yet from the other towns. I think I understand the budgetary process. I also appreciate the fact that if this is an issue for you, you need to show up at deliberative session. I also feel as though, did we have an opportunity to take this from the money we didn't spend, write the contract to Camp Lincoln, and then carry the money over? All right. We always talk about we're gonna do things first, our number 1 priority, things that affect the kids directly. This is one of them. I understand, so this is a double-edged sword for me. So Camp Lincoln is important, and it's important to the middle school and the efforts there, bringing the kids together and making them feel comfortable and creating a great learning environment. So that's it.
Any other business? Any other delegates or individuals that wish to speak at this time? All right, cool. We will be going into a non-public.
Make a motion to go into non-public under 91-A:3 subparagraph C.
Motion by Shauna, do I have a second? Second by Alyssa. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All right, thank you all. We will not be back other than just to seal the minutes. Everybody have a good evening.
Thank you for bringing that up, Justin, that we were the ones who.